like, oh my God, why am I here? Do I fit? Do I belong? And that's, in psychology, we call it the fear of being found out. Okay, we all have it. It's the fear of being found out. They're going to find out that we took the train, or that we lived in poverty, or that our mother scraped, the bottom of the bucket to make ends meet, or whatever it is that we have in our life story. And so we have this fear that we're going to be found out. But once I was talking to this Caucasian anthropologist that I worked with for a while, and she said that most people have that anyway, because that they're able to ride the wave by acting all important. Okay, so there's different ways of handling that. Not forgetting where you come from is important, and being selective about what you say about yourself is also important in terms of being able to fit in those crowds where you feel like you're an other, that you're not part of that majority. Now, the context, let's say I just want to talk real quickly. If you're directing a group project, how much of yourself, let's say you've been assigned to do a group project in class, how much of yourself do you need to share? Not a lot. It's a group project, right? So do you need to say that your family went back and forth to Puerto Rico 20 times? No. Okay, so in that context, you don't say that. You check out what's needed, and you figure out what role you're going to take. And if you need to take charge, you take charge. But you figure it out. How about if you're running for office? What do you need to share?
You got to share a lot of things.
You got to be ready that your whole life is going to get scrutinized. Totally. My husband ran for office for council in Ohio, in Cleveland, and I told him if he ever did that again, I would leave him. Because they scrutinize everything. Everything. And I'm not a very public person in that way. So public office, you have to be ready.
Transparent.
But you also need to be ready to put particular slants on your story. Okay? How about if I'm going to go to your organized, you have a pet idea, something that you think is really, really important. A dream that you have, and you're trying to sell it to others. What elements of your story would you share? Yeah. You would share the element of your story that's closest to the task at hand. And so let's say you go to Africa, or you're here, you're collecting money for water projects in Africa. You would share the elements of your story that are closest to that. When I went to Africa and I saw those people not having enough water to drink, I just felt that I had to do something. So you share that part of your story, okay, that is connected to the job that you have at hand. And the point we've already talked about is to motivate others and to get them to do what you need to do, to get them to buy in. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm not going to ask for answers to me, because what I'm doing is prepping you for when you begin crafting your stories in the small group. It's sort of like tapping into your histories right now. And I want you can take notes, or you can just think about it, okay? Because you're going to be asked to construct your story in the big group activities. So I want you to think back on your experiences with your families, in school, in your churches, in your communities. And I shared enough about me for you to know that I'm talking very broadly. And I want you to think about instances that helped you develop the kind of skills that one needs to be a leader. Okay, it could have been in your church, you saw that the little kids didn't have enough toys and you organized a toy drive, but something in your life that you did because you saw a need, or because you were forced into it, that has allowed you to become the person you are today. And that you can tap into that as you grow into a leadership role. I want you to think about that. Okay, the next question that I want you to think about: what have you accomplished so far? That you're all here in this room today means you're either at Lehman or you're at the community college level, right? That's an accomplishment. It's how many kids make it to your level? Not a lot. If you think about people in your neighborhoods, not a lot, very few. Okay, so you've already accomplished a lot just by being here, by virtue of being here. But there are other things that you might have accomplished that I don't know about. Okay, so think about the things that you have accomplished in your leadership journey so far. What obstacles have you encountered on your journey, and what coping mechanisms did you use? And so I gave you an example of having those little kids waiting to beat me up and learning how to negotiate, okay? So I learned how to negotiate from those obstacles. I learned how to make friends relatively quickly from having to make friends every time we moved. Okay, so think about what obstacles have you encountered on your journey, and how did you manage them? How did you cope with them? And coping mechanisms are how we deal with things that help us move forward. Elias says that he doesn't think about it too much. He gets really busy with work. That's a coping strategy that he uses. Okay, so each of us has coping strategies that we use to get through the day, to get through the semester, to get through the 4 years that it takes to graduate, okay, or more. So what coping strategies have you developed? Okay, and when you tell your story, I'm going to repeat this again because it's important. Do not share the gory details. Okay, people don't need to know. There are some things that you need to know, and others need to know, but there are some things that you can just give a headline. Our provost, Annie Sosa, is from the Heights. She's a Latina woman, and her journey was that she went to schools out in Texas and in California, and I know that at the time we were going, you know, we're pretty much the same age, and discrimination is very high in majority white schools. So she didn't talk about that. She didn't say, oh, I was discriminated against, and people treated me badly, and they locked me out of the staff room. What she said was, and there were some difficulties that I encountered. Okay? To those of us that knew, we can imagine what the difficulties were, but she didn't go into the gory details. Okay? Because she was there to inspire another leadership class. Okay, so there are stories that you can tell, and there are stories that you can just give the headlines about. Okay? And finally, what sacrifices, and this one is really important, I want you to read it with me. What sacrifices have you made on your leadership journey? Okay, and I'm going to wrote down what I was thinking is changing. How have you had to change to be here today? What have you had to leave behind to be here today? Okay. Elias talked about gaming. You can't spend all night on your Xbox and still get A's. Okay? But gaming is what people do because it's a lot of fun and there's immediate gratification. But what kind of other sacrifices have you had to do? Maybe you get invited to a party and you can't go because the next day you have a final and that your grade is like between a B and an A. Maybe there's some friends that you've had to let go because they were your hangout buddies who still want to hang out. Okay? So there are losses along the way as well as changes. And then some of us feel like it's going too fast. Oh my God, it's going too fast. And I imagine from Elia's story that it might have felt like that. that is going too fast, particularly when he was in Chile. You know, he's there on vacation and all of a sudden he's talking to the ambassador. Oh my God. That might have felt like it was going too fast. And so sometimes the door is open and you feel like it's going too fast. One of my friends told me, because I get like really anxious, she said, close your eyes when you get that feeling. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, center yourself and keep going. Okay, so that's a technique that I'm offering here. Okay, now, what life lessons have you learned from your journey into a leadership, that you're taking into the leadership position? One of the things that I want to say to you, because as opposed to Elias, I am 50-something, I'm not going to tell you what the something is. And if anybody says that I said I was 50-something, I'll say that you were lying, that I never said that. I am a lady of age. So the core of you doesn't change. Who you are at your center doesn't change. And when you said that you could see his humility, that's the core of who he is. That doesn't change. Okay, the core, if you're a giving person, you may learn not to give too much, but you'll always be a giving person. Okay? You may choose who and where and what to give, but you'll always be that. Okay, if the core of you won't change, even if the outside of you changes. Okay, I worked with these. Then I was a young woman. I was working with this woman she was maybe 84, and I kind of was like young therapist. I did like this to her because she had fallen on the ice and hurt herself. And I said, "Why did you have to go on the ice?" And she looked at me up and down and she said, "You know, I look like a little lady, but inside I'm 18 years old. That's why I went on the ice."
I like that.
So she taught me a lot. You know, that we don't change. Who we are inside is always there. How about changing other people? How many of you want to change other people? Boyfriends, husbands, best friends, mothers, fathers. Can you change other people? You can't change other people. You can inspire them. You can maybe say the thing when they're ready to hear it that may make a difference, but don't invest your energy in changing other people. Okay, only change yourself. Okay, you can only change yourself. So I wrote down, you can take the horse to water, but
You can't make it drink.
you can't make it drink, because you can't. And the last one, and this was really important, it gets lonely at the top. When you become a leader, when you achieve your goals, and you look around you and everybody is different, and you go home and you feel different from your family, it may feel a little lonely. Okay? And this is where developing support groups, people who are like you, just to meet once a month for coffee, Utelo, preferably, that helps a lot. I have weekly, I do a lot of emails and texting. My friends say I never answer the phone, and they're right. But I do answer all my texts and emails. So having people that you can share your journey with is important. And if you find a person like that, keep them. Okay? When I was young, I would lose people all the time because I was so used to losing them because we moved. Until I made a good friend who's been my friend for 40 years, who kept following me. I would leave and she would follow me. And she's like my sister now. And so I don't lose people now. You know, people that I find that are inspiring or who I can connect with, I keep in touch with them. So don't let that the people immediately around you don't get you. Don't let that stop you. Okay? Find people that will get you. Okay? Well, that's it for today. Thank you, and I want to congratulate you on your inspiring
Thank you, Dr. Capresi, for sharing with us. Let's give her another. Now you will get a chance to share your story, and at this time we're going to be breaking you into small groups. And I would just like to introduce our mentors who will be facilitating the discussion. We have Elias Alcantara, who you met earlier, and we also have Edwin Martinez sitting here. He is the Project Director for Public Service Leadership Institute here at Lehman College. We also have Basilia Toussaint. She's the Career Advisor at Lehman College. She's at the back. We have Audrey Rose Glenn. She's sitting over here. She's the Assistant Director for Campus Life at Bronx Community College. We also have Jenny Langsman, who is sitting in for Amanda Dubois. And she is the director for, Amanda is the director for community engagement and student projects. We also have Saudi Tehide, did I say that right? Tahada. She is the manager for corporate individual giving at Bronx River Alliance. So they will be facilitating this small group discussion. So I'm going to count you off. We have 6 groups. I'm going to count you off. And everyone will meet in the room behind us, except for those persons who will be meeting with Edwin Martinez, and you'll meet in the conference room 101. And if you go through this door, make a left, it's all the way to the end of the corridor, okay?